Akhil Taher was a physician. By his own admission, he was also a couch potato. Then in 2009, age 61, he had open heart surgery. That changed everything. I'm going to let him tell his fascinating story about what happened next. You were a happy physician, very successful with a happy family life, an interesting life. And then it all changed. Can you tell us about that?
I created my own unhealthy lifestyle prior to 61. I came to America rather late, at age 40, and had a lot of catching up to do. So I worked hard, long hours, without paying attention to my health, family, or friends. I started eating indiscriminately, everything in sight, and unhealthy food and drink, to an extent that I believe very strongly that I was addicted. So I needed those foods for my daily high. Couldn't function without it. And so if I was not working hard, long hours, or eating what was in front of me, I was a total couch potato. I didn't know the meaning of exercise. And you know, Jane, the first generation Indians who came here, possibly even in the UK, we did not know what exercise was. So we did not move. We only moved from the couch to the bathroom to eat. And then we worked. So again, with all these things happening, I also have a very bad family history. Both my mother and my sister died at the age of 69, succumbed to heart disease. And my brother, unfortunately, died at 52 of a stroke. So, and then I realized that I also have what is called as double Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. It's like a horror movie, but it's not. It's just a conduction defect in your heart. It's an accessory pathway. And later on, I told my cardiologist, my cholesterol is not coming down. And so let's test this LP-little-a. A lot of work is being done in the UK, more than in the US, I believe, of how to solve this problem. There is no treatment and it's genetic. So you get it from your parents. And mine was skyrocketing. It was 360 when it was supposed to be about 30. So that gives you a kind of cholesterol, bad cholesterol, which is to simplify it, it's like Velcro. So it really attaches on your coronary arteries and gives you premature inflammation and blockages. So that is the reason at the age of 50, my heart disease, my coronary artery disease. Also, I should be very open and transparent in what I say. So I was a type A personality. I needed everything under control, the my way or the highway. That all led to a sort of stress that people don't realize. Even I did not realize, but I was living under the roof of that stress. It manifested itself into heart disease. So I was in the hands of the cardiologist to say, get the stents done. So I said, okay, but my plaques were so thick in my coronary arteries. 3 of my vessels were blocked. That when they were actually putting the stents, they had to shave off the plaques. A diamond tip drill. And that's when I got a cardiac arrest. And that superb cardiologist, I mean, he saved my life in him. But here I would like to tell you, Jane, the importance of heart disease being the leading cause of death in the UK, in US, all around globally. People just don't understand this. It is the leading cause of death. Even during the COVID time, it was the number one leading cause. Underwent heart disease. I'm a heart disease survivor. And let's stop this if we can, or let's get it better. That's what I'm looking for. That's when I wrote my book about. At 61, when I had my stents, most people would think that I would change my lifestyle. At least eat better. But I did not. I thought that medical science, the conventional medical science, would get me out of it, being a doctor. What happened was I lost control. I was a person, a control freak. I lost control of this. Then I got in kind of depressive state. And most people don't realize with an event like this, you can be very lonely and, isolated. And then my depressive symptoms were such that I would sit for long hours on a chair, staring vacantly, because I did not understand why I could not control it. Nights were horrible. I would sit in awful dreams. This went on for 5 years. So from 61, when I had my stents, for 5 years I continued in this state. Working, yes, but other than working, because I had to work, but other than working, my life was in shambles. So I went from that state. So I was not surprised my stents failed. And I was back in the hospital, this time for an open heart surgery. As I was being led into surgery, I don't know why I said this. I think probably the infusion of anesthesia. And I just blurted out. I said, hey, to the nurses in ICU, I think I'm going to do a half marathon in a year's time if all goes well. And, they were so nice. They were saying, yeah, doc, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You're doing not a half, but full marathon. But I said that, and now I believe that I said that because I think I had only two choices. I had to continue living this life, this endless life of misery, and then waiting to die, or to make a conscious decision to change my lifestyle, to live a life, say, passion, productivity, not only to survive, thrive. Like in your case, I wanted to thrive so that people understand that you have something, you can do it, not just by surviving in a rocking chair, but to do more. So I decided to, having this recovered, my recovery was remarkable. I was on the treadmill on the third day. I did not take any pain medication at all. I mean, when you the people cut open your chest, every breath is horrendous. But I felt better. For some reason, people don't understand this. Pain to me at that time was pleasure in comparison to the last 5 years of mental act. So I slowly got into eating better, not plant-based, and doing meditation, yoga, and I started running. Running to me became a kind of meditation in motion. So I don't like running with people. I like to run alone. And I believe someone said that running is a classical road to, I don't know who it was, to self-consciousness and self-reliance. And so that made me feel good about running. And in 7 months' time, my wife and I went over to Nashville in the US. I did my first half marathon. But when we went over there, Jane, I could not sleep that night. Because remember, 7 months back, I had an open heart surgery. So I did not sleep. And 1 o'clock, I dozed. Had gone the night before. And guess what? I thought I got a dream that I was representing US in the Olympic. And they were putting a gold medal on me. And I was trying to sing the Star Spangled National Anthem totally off tune. And so I was doing this, and then in the morning I got up, still a mixture of dichotomy of fear and acceptance. Boy, oh boy, my bruised heart did not fail me. And I completed in 4 grueling hours. But that's the first message to people. If you had a heart disease, a heart, or some major surgery, ask your doctors, of course. But what I'm saying is if no damage has been done and you got everything, your heart's pumping regularly, you can do anything you want. Don't get scared. Oh my God, if I do something, I get another heart attack. Or no, you are not. But ask your doctor's advice. I am telling you from evidence-backed as well as my own personal story. So having done that, I was now doing a marathon. And then, I realized that I also had diverticulitis, which is the little pockets in your colon that get inflamed and get infected. Twice I had this. And both the times it got perforated. It's dangerous. The second time in the perforation, my surgeon, my friend, he said, look, Akhil, if I don't operate on you right now, you may not survive. And I looked at it, I did a little bit of research, and I said, no, forget about it. I'm going to. Why am I saying this? Because this particularly diverticulitis was still going on, even though I was feeling better and I was running and doing half marathons and marathons. Every time I did a marathon or a triathlon, I came back and I would lie in bed for 3-4 days, tired. And then I would get out of it and I would do it. And then I would get diverticulitis attacks and acid reflux. I started wondering, why is that? I'm doing everything right. That is the time I started reading about plant-based. I started reading and T. Collins, I've talked to him, Neil Bernard, I talked to Dean Ornish, the father of plant-based. I met all these people and I talked, and the more I talked, the more I did, the more I realized that there was something here. Then I did a lot of research. I read papers and I saw Game Changers and I saw other movies, Fork Over Knives. And that is when I realized, because I was trying to research on ways of how to heal the body without solely relying on medication and surgery. Because there is a place for conventional medicine. You cannot, if I have a patient in my clinic having a heart attack, I'm not going to say have a carrot stick. You need immediate attention. So there is a place, a lot where conventional medicine has its place, but not for chronic diseases, which can be absolutely treated, of course, or be avoided. So that is when I realized that this is what it is. That was my first thing of changing to plant-based, not cold turkey, taking small steps, giving up one, doing things, giving up dairy, becoming a pescatarian. But then I said, okay, let's forget about it. I'm going to be a plant-based. But I turned into a vegan. But Jane, when you give up the things that you've been so used to all your life and you turn into a vegan, I turn into a junk food vegan, which is worse than put a piece of meat in your mouth. Because look at India. We have a lot of vegetarians, we're vegans. Why is it called heart disease capital of the world? Because we are eating junk food vegan. We are junk food vegetarians, not all. So when you have dairy to me is liquid meat. Cup of milk, 2% milk, has the same amount of saturated fat and cholesterol as an ounce of meat. So I gave up one, then I became a lacto over this thing. Then I gave up, and finally I came onto the plant-based. This is when I realized, boy, oh boy, no diverticulite, no reflux. And I did 100-kilometer bike ride when I was still a non-vegetarian, and I slept in bed for 5 days after that. When I did 100-mile on plant-based, 100 miles is more than 100 kilometers, so 100 miles when I did, and that was gale force winds. The temperature, I don't know in your calculations, but it was something like 28 degrees. It is extremely cold. And they had to cancel the last 4 miles because people fell on the bridge. It took 9.5 hours to complete that 100-mile bike ride. Then I went over to my small town, drove 6 hours, same day, to my small town, Gadsden in Alabama. There, Whilst driving, I got a call. The doc, we don't have a doctor tomorrow. Could you please cover? So 9.5 hours, 6 hours, sleeping for that little bit, getting up in the morning, doing a 10-hour shift without batting an eye. Why? Plant-based. Having said that, plant-based is a cornerstone of your lifestyle, 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. I always like to think of it as a conductor in a symphony. It's your food. But very important are the other pillars which complement. And the next thing that comes to mind is exercise. Older people like me, they have to not only, they have to do exercise in a lot of different ways. You can't be just, it is okay to be mobile. Being mobile is better than not doing anything. But you have to get your aerobic exercises. You have to get your muscle strengthening exercises. You have to get your balance exercises. You have to get in stretching exercises. And you are an expert at that. I watch your videos. I see you. And I think I learn a lot from you. That these are the things that keep you from your muscle mass. Because at my age, the muscle mass decreases, not because you are not taking animal protein, but because of hormones and inactivity. So if you do this thing, your muscle mass, when people run around in the protein powder, listen, you don't really need it. You can be a plant-based protein, increase your plant-based protein. I don't mind. And do these exercises because they always say that you have just activity and then you have a purposeful activity. Thereby which you, if you got a heart disease like I have, then you have to get your heart rate to 70% of your maximum. At least for the 10-15 minutes when your heartbeat beats fast. If you don't get that, it's not really helping you in terms of your heart disease or your diabetes or your blood pressure. Chronic. So that is your number 2. Number 3 is I've just written an article on sleep. Sleep is not just absence of wakefulness. It's a state of mind when your brain is doing phenomenal things. From remembering things and from protecting you from heart disease and diabetes and what have you. So sleep is, and you require 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I'm still struggling with. Now, all my life I've slept 4 to 5 hours. Now I've got on to 6 hours and now I see the difference. Because when you get used to certain things in life, you don't know how much better it can be. You say, this is life. So to me, 5 hours is life. But now I'm seeing the difference. And then comes your stress. See, I always tell people, acute stress, superb. Somebody trying to snatch your purse. Your heartbeat goes fast, your respiratory rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up. That is when somebody is trying to rob you. But once that thing is over, everything comes back to normal. But if this is an overstimulation of your sympathetic nervous system, now if you continue this, if this happens on a weekly basis, monthly basis, then you get into chronic stress. Your cortisol levels go up high, and you start eating more, you get obese, and when you get obese, you get diabetes, blood pressure, and what have you. So stress becomes that number 4 in your 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. And comes is avoiding substance abuse. I mean, look at the fentanyl problem we have on our borders. It's amazing. People have got access to this anti-inflammatories, your Motrin, your ibuprofen, and all that, because it's over the counter. Kid you not, I had a patient who came around just taking Motrin, ibuprofen, 600 milligrams 3 times for the last 35 years. He came with what? Ulcer, heart disease, kidney failure. And these are available over the counter. Don't know in UK, but here it is available. So people should be wary about taking over-the-counter medications too. And the sixth thing is having kind of a supportive social group. Because if you see the blue zones, what is that? That is because people have learned to share their anxiety, their happiness, and they learn from each other and they talk about it. See, we have, in the Western civilization, we have become very much to ourselves. We don't
Yeah.
open up to people. We don't share. We have that kind of a thing. No, I can handle it. But it's always good to share, always good to help people so your burden becomes less. And so that is a sixth pillar. I'm writing a book about the six pillars of lifestyle medicine in detail. Uh, that is what has actually saved me. And I keep telling people that if you follow the six pillars of lifestyle medicine, your chronic diseases will be at bay. You will not get it. Because after all, what are the common things in a chronic disease? That is inflammation, oxidation, your telomeres, which shorten because of the way you live, your imbalance of your gut bacteria, and overstimulation of your sympathetic nervous system causing stress. This is you find in everything, whether you're diabetic or you're high blood pressure or high cholesterol or certain types of cancers. All is there. So that is in short what I would love people to do.
Well, you're an absolute shining example of that, because I know you have a very active life. You're very enthusiastic. I can see your book back there. Can you just bring your book out, The Open Heart, so that people can see it?
This is my book, Open Heart.
The transformational journey of a doctor who, after bypass surgery at 61, ran marathons and climbed mountains. Yeah.
The reason people ask me, why do you keep doing so many different things and not only concentrate on, you know what, Jane, I get bored. So I said, let me try something else. So that's the reason I keep doing things. And, I have a lot of fun doing it. When I did my Boston Marathon, Boston Marathon starts cold. So you have a knit toboggan that you put it on, that I put it on. Then it started getting very hot. So I discarded it. And then it was so hot, and having little effort. So I was really getting. So I walk up to this total stranger, and my wife always gives me $20 to put in my pocket in case somewhere is an emergency. Walk up to this total stranger who had a hat. And I said, I'll give you this $20 if you let me have your hat. Initially, he was reluctant, but his girlfriend elbowed him and said, give that gentleman your hat. And he gave it to me. They did not even take the $20, but as a passing shot, when I was going back into the race, he said, look, this hat has been with me for 10 years. It's a custom-made hat. You better finish the race. That motivated. It's a random act of kindness. Motivated me. And I tried very hard to find him after the race to give him, but they all wanted his name. So I hope, I've said this in a lot of my talks, I hope one day he listens to what I have to say. He may get in touch with me, and I still got it with. And it's a Boston Red Sox hat. So these are the things that made me do even more, because it was fun and there was laughter, and my book can teach people that to be very open and transparent so that they can be transparent and they can conquer their things that they have in life and lead a better life. Also, they can understand how I lived me for so many years and how I came out of it with the help of nutrition, of course, exercise, meditation, yoga, all these help me out. And I so believe that it'll take a long time for us to beat the dairy industry and the food industry. but we're making a dent.
Yeah.
Told by
Yeah.
somebody that in the UK, 1 million people in the year 2-3, and I'm not sure, somebody told me, so don't quote me on 1 million people turn vegan. So that's a good sign.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm sure your story is really inspiring and there's lots of useful information in it too. So that's absolutely great. Thank you. I know you're really busy. So thank you for giving me the time. I've appreciated it a lot and enjoyed it a lot.
At all, Jane. Always lovely speaking to you.